think you know a lot about the people who lived here before.
Yes, I decided to do a little bit of research onto this premises because obviously there's a lot of information I can find online. The earliest I found was 1839. It was a person called R.J. Ellis who ran it as a shopkeeper, or what was listed. In 1844, a John Pillar used this place as a baker, and it was known as number 53 Navy Row. His son, Thomas Pillar, also was a baker, and he ran it for number 12 Navy Row, which is further down the bottom of the road. In 1852, a Samuel Gartrill was a baker for here. And then in 1878, we had the Healy family moving here. The original Healy, the grandfather, shall I say, died in over an 88 Navy Row, which would have been the house opposite us.
Side of the road, across there, yes.
His son, which is George Frederick Healy, he lived here with his wife, and they had 5 children. The names was Florence Ruth Amelia Healy.
What do they start with again? The first one was...
Florence Ruth Amelia Healy.
When was she here?
1871.
1871.
She was born at number 53 Navy Row. We got George Frederick William Healy, also born at this house. Bessie Ethel Healy, also born here. Beatrice Mary Healy, also born here. And Edith Elizabeth Healy, also born here.
And their mum and dad was William Henry Healy and Ruth Amelia Hill.
Indeed.
All in this little area.
In this little area.
This is our own little house through time, isn't it?
Yes. So the Healy family, according to the documents, ran the bakery here from 1878 all the way until 1895.
So we actually know the names of the people who worked here.
Yes.
So we could well think they'd have said, William.
Yes.
Amelia.
Yeah.
Get in here.
Yeah. Help your parents.
Help your mum and dad.
Yeah. It seems to be, unfortunately, that George Frederick Healy passed away at some point, and it was left to his wife, Eliza Healy, to run it as a baker and grocery store. She ran it until around about 1900, when she may have sold it to the Pugh family, which I've got the original sales document for. However, Bessie Pugh, who took over it, only ran it as a grocery store. Mm-hmm. So it could be that either they didn't bother saying that she was a baker, or she decided not to run it as a bakery store.
Bessie Pugh of 53 Albert Road.
1927.
1927, the 14th of June. But this is when it stopped being a bakery.
I presume so, because in the business directory it's just being listed as a grocery store rather than a bakery store.
So there was more money to be made selling potatoes, what have you, at the front of the shop than doing the baking at the back of the shop.
Yes. Also, you have to remember that there were 2 other bakeries in Albert Road at the same time.
Yes.
So obviously much more competition around. Maybe it wasn't viable. Maybe the Pugh family didn't have the experience of being a bakery.
Right.
So we don't know why it didn't carry on. But from what I'm looking at, it just seemed to be that they stopped baking bread here at the turn of the 19th century.
So they were in business here when the dockyard was at its very peak, just about.
Yes. So according to the information, Bessie Pugh lived here with her daughter, who was called Victoria Maud Pugh. She inherited the place from her mother after her mother died in 1938. Apparently, they may have ran it at some point as a grocery store and a off-license selling alcohol, because an agreement was made to be an agent for W&A Gilby, who were a alcoholic beverage place.
And of course, that was the start of the the start of what it would be as an off-licence.
Yes.
When it was Will's
wine stores. Yes.
Which I remember in the 1980s.
Yes. So Victoria Maud Pugh inherited the place in 1938. She married someone called Frederick Thomas Ashe in 1951. In 1959, Victoria Ashe then sold this premises to Charrington and Company, who was a brewery company. Yes. In 1961, 53 Albert Road became 136 Albert Road because of the development of the flats opposite. Yeah. In 1966, Charrington and Company Brewery then sold it to Will's Wine Stores. They continued to operate until 1995 when Will's Wine Stores then sold it to my parents.
And that would explain why some of the artefacts we've found here are probably from the 1960s.
Yes.
The bottles, etc. of the 1960s, and also you found some early tin, what they call Pepsi type cans. Where are they? They're here. Could you lift them up, please, Jonathan? And we can see, look, that like old original cans, they didn't have a ring pull. They were opened by punching 2 holes. And I can remember these as a young boy in the 1960s. So that and all the other bits and pieces which we've got here, that fits in very well, doesn't it, with the 1960s here.
Yes, so
went from one type of food business to a more liquid type of food business.
Yes.
So this place has been home to a huge amount of people.
Yeah, a lot of different people.
And when we consider they had wives, brothers and sisters, they got married, they had grandkids, there could have been hundreds of people who experienced living here.
Yeah.
So this is our own little house through time.
Yep.
And the story is still happening because your mum and dad took this on.
Yes. And obviously I'm the next generation who has taken on the place. And obviously we're doing more renovation work to it.
You are, and we're certainly finding some interesting things here.
So
because it all happened here, didn't it, in this room?
Yes. So the plan is for this place is to reinstate a staircase linking downstairs to upstairs again.
Up here, this one here?
It's going to go over on that far wall,
yes,
coming down against that wall over there. Yes. So the first time in 50, 60, 70 years, the upstairs and downstairs is going to be linked again as one unit.
Fabulous. How does it feel to be surrounded by so much history? You're walking in the footsteps, aren't you? You're in the footsteps of hundreds of people.
Yeah. Lots of emotions, shall I say. It's obviously very interesting to try and imagine of what was here. I mean, we're lucky today that we've got lights, we've got heating and everything. Our lives are much more easier to what they had it. Yeah, a lot of different emotions, really.
Because the people who lived here would have talked about World War One,
yes,
World War Two,
yeah,
Queen Victoria,
yeah,
King Edward,
yeah,
George V, Sixth abdication,
mm-hmm,
and up to Elizabeth.
yeah.
Think of the conversations in this room.
Yes, I can imagine.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.